This is Stephanie, South African living in Houston. I've been here since October 2005, and I thought it would be interesting for me to share a couple of my experiences that I've had since I got here, some of which are funny, some that I just couldn't care to tell you about, but nevertheless they are good experiences. I remember arriving at George Bush Intercontinental Airport, and my husband was there to greet me, pick me up from the airport. He's an American, and I couldn't get over the size of the trucks, as they call them here, which are our buckies, if you will, in South Africa. Man, those things were just huge, and Mike, that's my husband, he just thought it was funny, absolutely hysterical that I was standing there at the airport with my jaw half, dropped open, looking at all these cars and trucks, and that was my first view of the United States, and driving home was another experience. Driving on the other side of the road, well, I tell you, thank God I sat in the back seat, because I think if I sat in the front seat, I would have had my foot going through the floorboard, because it's just so weird. Now I'm used to it, but when you first see it, it's amazing. It's really strange. And I drove for the first time a week after I arrived here. I bought a Ford Mustang. Now, not a practical car. That is just a single guy or a single girl's car, not a family car. But I drive a Fiat Uno in South Africa, so of course when I see this Mustang and I can afford to buy it, as they say in the States, it's a no-brainer. So I bought this Mustang and I drove it home. I actually drove this car home a week after I arrived here. And it's not so bad to drive on the other side of the road as long as you're in traffic. You can't really make a mistake. You just follow the car in front of you. But I have made a mistake where there was no car in front of me and I drove on the left-hand side of the road. I came out of my son's school, and I'd gone to pick him up after school one day, and I came out of the schoolyard and I just proceeded to drive on the left-hand side of the road. And I drove for about 15 seconds, and then he said to me, "Mommy, aren't you driving on the wrong side of the road?" And I kind of looked. I said, "Oh shit, yes I am." And I pulled over to the other side. Well, I've done that once, really. The fact that there was no traffic in front of me there was nobody there to guide me. Very confusing to remember that your rearview mirror is now here and not here. Took me a while to remember that. It's weird. I drove a manual, and it was weird for me to change gears with my right hand. And also I used to smoke back then, and I tell you what, I couldn't get used to the fact of smoking the cigarette in my left hand because the window is here now. In South Africa, it's just so convenient. You flick your ash out the window while you're driving, no problem, And so you kind of have to get used to driving with a cigarette in the left hand. And those are silly little things, but you don't think about them. You don't actually think about them until you actually doing, you have to get in a drive or do something. Then you're like, this is a little bit different. It's like milk tart. And I said to my in-laws, I said, I'll make you a milk tart, to go with Thanksgiving dinner. And they were like, what is a milk tart? And I thought, shit, what is a milk tart? I never thought about it before. I mean, everybody knows what a milk tart is in South Africa. You know, I've never consciously thought, what is a milk tart? And I said, you know, I was trying to think what it was, and eventually the best way I could describe it was to say, well, it's like a kind of custard tart, you know, kind of custard. So another specialty that's not very well known here is Dom Pedro. Whiskey with ice cream. I've introduced a couple of these Houstonians to it. Yeah, good old Dom Pedro. Different words for different things. A cycas in South Africa, you know, you get the cycad and you get the cycas. Well, here the cycas is called a sago palm. Okay, so sago palm, I guess it is. You know, you have to get used to, I mean, Q, please Q here is not a word that is used in everyday American vocabulary. You know, it's like line up here. You know, there's no such word as Q. I mean, I remember telling my sister-in-law one day, you know, we went to the bank and I said to her, oh hell, I'm not going to wait in that queue. And she said to me, what's a queue? I said, you're shitting me. And she's like, no, what is a queue? I said, well, it's a line, you know, joining the queue. She's not the only one that actually didn't know what it meant. In fact, I was watching TV one day, and I don't remember what channel it was, and they were talking about, you know, queue being a fancy British word for a line, and I thought, okay, well, I guess then it's a fancy British word for a line. But yeah, you know, our steaks or our fish is crumbed. You know, here it's breaded. You know, gasoline and petrol and store versus the shop, and it's a soda versus a, you know, cool drink. Or, you know, lots of little things that you think you speak English, you think you come here and you're going to understand. Well, you do, you understand, but a very different English. Very, very different English, and the spelling. And it's not XYZ, it's XYZ. You know, EZ as in E and a Z. So, yeah, strange little quirks that I never knew. You don't know about these things until you get here, and you find that, man, you thought it was so much the same, and yet it is, but it's so very different. Anyway, that's part one of my experiences. Just to give you an idea as an immigrant into this country, the kind of differences that, you know, that we experience, you know, how life is different, how it's changed. I mean, another thing I've got to tell you about this. At Walmart, that was the first store that I went to when I got here, and I couldn't get over it. They had a self-checkout counter. Well, a couple of them, a few of them. Self-checkout. I mean, where the hell would you see that in South Africa? You know, drive-through banking. You know, they really know how to make life convenient, and yeah. But I'll have some more on this later. I just wanted to do a quick little video about this, and let you see how I see America through my eyes. You know, coming from a second world country, you know, a developing country, where we have a mixture of third world and first world, you know, all together, where things are very much the same and yet very different in the United States. It is a good country. It takes a lot of getting used to. I've been here now nearly 2 years. Very different, and it takes a hell of a lot of getting used to, but I'm getting there. So I'll make some more of these, because I want people people to see what I see and how I've coped with certain things, which might help other people that are thinking of immigrating, to the United States. So I'll keep you informed. And anyway, thanks for listening. Cheers.